I'm really pleased to be spending time with our Woman in Digital and Data Award winner, Fiona Paton. Fiona received not one, not two, but 5 nominations for the award. She really stood out for her outstanding achievements, using her data skills to support the delivery of the international strategy and role modelling great data behaviours with a curiosity and passion for finding answers. She brings huge enthusiasm and drive in the world of digital and data and is self-motivated to take ownership of insight from ideation through to delivery. There's no doubt that Fiona will play a key role in the growth aspirations in international with her support to the data strategy. Welcome, Fiona. I'm going to dive right in with some questions so we can get to know a bit more about you, your career, and your role at M&S. So we have a bit of a tradition at our digital and data community hangouts where we ask all of our guests, if your role was a song, what would it be and why? So obviously we have to start by asking you that same question.
Okay, so this was really difficult. I spent a long time thinking about this, but I've chosen Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. So in that song, she's talking about revolutionising the music industry, being a bit different, challenging the status quo. And I think with data, that's what my role is. It's to challenge M&S to think differently, use data, and essentially use different models or reporting programs to bring M&S into the future.
It would be great to hear a little bit more about you, your role, your career journey, how you got where you are today.
Okay, so I started my career in market research, so building up market sizes for the UK retail market, things like looking at different market shares for different retailers in different industries. And then I joined M&S in 2018 into the international division, and my role was largely around market insight, so benchmarking M&S in our different countries against the competition and just providing strategic insight to franchise partner managers and different team members. My role kind of transitioned after that into more of a big data space, reporting and analytics role. So moving away from kind of using third-party data sources and more looking at internal data, sales data, also international buying tool data, all different data sets.
So clearly you use a lot of data in international. You've mentioned quite a few there. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you use it in your role and maybe how that's evolved over time?
Yeah, so when I first started, it was mainly looking at third-party data providers. So companies that provide us with the total market size and market shares, as I just spoke about. But since going on the data fellowship, I essentially started getting access to business objects at first to do my projects on, but then kind of graduating into EAH and bringing in data sets straight into Power BI. So it's kind of been a transformation in how I've used data from Excel-based third-party data into business objects and then into kind of like the big data world and using SQL, which I never thought I would go down that route, but yeah, here I am.
Love it. And you know, a big part of that journey has been the data fellowship for you, hasn't it? And you're on the 3rd cohort, I believe, Fiona.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What's that been like? What motivated you to join, and how has the last 18 months of the programme been for you?
So I think the thing that motivated me to join was that obviously data, it was kind of obvious that data is going in that direction, and that especially with big data, it was always a big topic, and I felt like for my career it was a no-brainer to join, really. I'd always had a bit of a curiosity around coding. I did try and teach myself SQL coding a few years ago, but basically failed because I had nowhere to apply it and I basically lacked the motivation, I guess. So it was really no-brainer to go on it, and I guess the things that the Data Fellowship has learnt me is obviously the basics around learning how to code in Python and do analytics and SQL coding. But more than that, it's taught me that you don't have to be a particular genius to actually code, and it's actually an attitude thing, and that even the best coders in the world who I would look at and be like, oh my God, I can't do that, they're just Googling to find the answers. And that really opened me up to looking at using different technologies because it made me unafraid and less intimidated to go ahead and explore, basically.
Amazing. And I think what's been great actually is you and I have been working together far more closely over the past few months with, you know, you being more upskilled and international transitioning onto the Beam platform. How have you found all of that? How has the fellowship helped you in that journey and supporting the international team?
I think it's given me the basic skills around databases actually and how databases all link up, and understanding how to join things in Power BI, and how to deliver insight to people but in a really efficient and easy, digestible way.
And what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about starting the fellowship, but isn't entirely sure if they should join or not? What would you say to them?
Go and speak to someone that's already started that journey. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It can be quite a long process. So you really have to be up for it if you want to do it. But if you're a curious person and you like to learn something and upskill yourself, then you should definitely go and speak to someone and join.
So amazing that you won the Women in Digital and Data Award 2021 at M&S. I'm super thrilled for you. I think it's fantastic. What does it mean to you to be the winner?
It's mad. I didn't really expect to win. I still consider myself a bit of a novice, and I hear about all the amazing things that people are doing across M&S, particularly the data science team, where I just find it fascinating, and like, I just feel like I wouldn't be able to build that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's quite incredible. I think the other thing is that there's so many people within M&S who weren't originally in a data role. I've always kind of been in a data role, although like, not big data. And they've picked up new skills and they've had a career path from that and completely changed course. So I also find that really inspiring. So there's some really tough competition in M&S. So I guess I'm thrilled, but also quite surprised.
Modest, that's really great to hear, but I definitely think you deserve to win. So obviously massive achievements in your career to date already. Women in Digital and Data Award 2021. You're about to graduate the 3rd cohort of the fellowship. What else are you really proud of in your career to date?
I think the things that I'm most proud about is where there's been a problem to solve, and I've solved it, but I've also challenged myself in the process. So when I digitised the market insight packs, we wanted to modernise them and also save a bit of time. So I did that using Power BI, and at the time when I proposed doing it, I hadn't touched Power BI in my life. I just thought, this is a good idea. So it was kind of a jump in the dark and a bit of a challenge for myself, picking up a new technology. So I'm really proud of myself that I just kind of persevered and did it, and it was went down really well. The other thing that I'm proud about is the thing that I'm working on now, which is essentially a summary reporting tool across all different data points and international into one Power BI dashboard. So it's joining up like 70 tables in Power BI into one summary view, basically commercial view. And lots of people said, oh, you won't be able to do it, it'll be too difficult. And it's almost done. So I think the things I'm most proud of is where I've really challenged myself and come over something quite difficult.
I love that. I think a lot of people can learn from that. A, when people say you can't do something, to persevere and push forward, I think, but also, as you say, just diving in and get going with something like Power BI, I think that's exceptional.
Yeah.
So I would love to know what advice you would give to someone who's thinking about a career in digital and data, especially women, because we know we're underrepresented in this industry.
I think my first piece of advice is, if you want to work in data, is just be curious, have an appetite to learn, and get involved, essentially. As a woman, I think it's all about the people around you. So I think we're definitely guiltier of maybe not realising our own potential. So make sure you have a colleague or a friend that you can talk to who will know that they'll talk to you straight, but also be your kind of hype man when you're feeling a bit low or feeling like you can't do something. So yeah, just surround yourself with good people and take advice from all different members of the company. So I've taken advice from you, Suze, and yeah.
So you took part in our 3rd 24-hour hackathon, didn't you, Fiona, that we ran a couple of weeks ago. Tell me a little bit more about it and how you got on.
So this is actually the 3rd hackathon I've done. So I think I've been involved in all the hackathons at M&S. So obviously I'm a big fan. This one was really exciting because the previous 2 I was working with international data and in a business area that I know really well. As this time I was in the returns team. We were called I'll Be Back. And we were looking at the high rate of returns at online that's increased year on year since basically the pandemic started. And I think it was just really interesting to learn a bit more about an area of the business that I knew nothing about. I don't know how returns work. It's all a bit of a mystery to me. So it was just really interesting. And as well, I was in the office working with people in person, working collaboratively, and just getting to know new people. So I love that. There's the social element as well.
So does that mean you'll definitely be joining us for our 24-hour hackathon in October? Can I sign you up now? So as you know better than anyone, Fiona, we're doing lots to be pushing data at the heart of our transformation at M&S. It's a big part of our digital strategy, pillar number 3, and part of that is building up this community of people who kind of live and breathe digital and data day in, day out. You're a huge contributor to that. How does it feel to be part of that community?
I think it's great. I think the one thing that's amazing about the digital and data community at M&S is all of the team sites and the fact that you can drop a message on those team sites and someone will probably help you who you don't know, some random lovely stranger, will help you with an error that you've been struggling on for like the last 2 hours or something. So there's a real like community feel and everyone's looking to help each other out, which is lovely. I also think there's so many events to get involved in, so from the hangouts to the hackathons. And also if you want to pick up a new skill, you can do that off your own back. I've been quite lucky to be in a team that's very encouraging of that, but also join a data fellowship or the courses on Beam Academy, which I've done a few on the Power BI courses. So there's just loads of resources out there and it's a really exciting space to be in, where opportunities to learn just keep on evolving.
As your nominations put it, you are definitely a future star in digital and data, and we are so looking forward to hearing about how your career progresses. Thank you so much for taking the time today to share with us, and look forward to talking again in the near future, Fiona.